Alright, today we're tackling something I've been thinking a lot about lately. Is framing the hardest trade in Australia? As an apprentice, I've been thrown right in the deep end of this trade, doing for almost 2 years now. And trust me, I've learned a lot along the way. Now, when you're an apprentice, you actually start to understand how much goes into the framing. It's not just pulling walls up and shooting studs. You're setting the foundation for the whole house. Everything starts here, and honestly, it's a lot more complex than it looks. One thing that really stands out to me is the physical side of this job, and I'm still getting used to the whole gig. One thing I didn't think about is it's not only tough on your body, but you have to really think and be precise when you want to be a good carpenter. There's a lot of people that just like to slap frames up and make money as quick as possible, but to be a good one, you have to take your time and really analyze what you're doing, and not to mention the house plans as well. As an apprentice, you get a lot of time just looking at the plans of the house, and at first it was overwhelming, but then I started to understand the designs and how everything works. It just became clear the knowledge that goes into each frame, and although they might look the same, they're actually very different. It's not about just cutting and nailing the timber together. It's about understanding how each piece supports the next. There's a lot of thinking ahead of time. And yeah, I'll be honest, sometimes I made mistakes, and probably quite too many. But the first time I saw a saw, I swear my heart was racing. But that's part of the apprenticeship, right? You learn by doing. And if you don't get things right at first, you got a chance to improve and try again. But another challenge has to be the fucking climate, the Australian climate. It can be absolutely brutal, especially in summer, facing these hot days. There are days where you're just drenched in sweat trying to keep that momentum going, and it's tough. It's one of the things that makes the job feel rewarding. Once you're finished, you're working through the heat and the pressure, and at the end of the day, you get to see the result of your effort. Now, as you can see here, we're working at height, and working at height can be a little bit nerve-wracking, especially when you're just starting out. And once you get comfortable, it becomes second nature. But the key is the confidence. And you need to just trust yourself, and maybe even just picture yourself on the floor. That's what I did. And, if you happen to fall off, you just got to send it, mate. You got to jump on your feet. That's the only way to do it. But once you get good at it, it becomes one of the best things. Working on the roof and standing trusses, that has to be one of my favorite parts of framing. It's honestly so fun. And you just feel like a freaking badass. And sometimes it can be tough with certain bosses and people you work with to actually get on the roof and start working at a certain level. You can't just be crawling around and not adding much to the team. And that's where the pressure of the job comes into play. The pressure from your colleagues and your bosses in the construction industry, especially when you're an apprentice, can be pretty intense. Here's some of the insights I've found, because let's be honest, when you're in the business, time is money and you've got a deadline. There's a significant amount of pressure from bosses to get things done quickly and efficiently. And as an apprentice, you're often expected to pick up speed while ensuring the quality of your work doesn't drop, which can be pretty tough, and I still experience that, but that's all part of it. You often hear things like, we need to get this section done by the end of the day, or come on, we got a deadline. And sometimes it's difficult to balance the need for speed and the focus on doing things right. But it does shape you to be a hopefully faster and good working apprentice. It teaches you how to work under pressure, and also the importance of communication and making sure you're asking certain questions when you're unsure. And the last thing you want to do is be making constant mistakes because you're just trying to be fast and you're not doing things properly. Not only keeping the quality of your work up to par, but actually the safety of it. Especially when using power tools and guns, you can imagine if you make a mistake with them when you're just starting out, you can shoot yourself or cut yourself or fall, which I've done a few times, and it doesn't help when you're under immense pressure by people. So if you're not comfortable doing it, then you don't have to do it. But if you're able to do stuff like use power tools and climb on the roof, you want to make sure you're actually able to, and not just getting pressured by other people. The pressure from people in the framing industry is real, and as an apprentice it can feel overwhelming, but it is the opportunity to grow and to push yourself. and to develop the skills you need in the future, especially if you want to, say, run a business, or, you need to be quick. You need to learn how to manage the stress and improve under pressure, and how to work a part of the team. In the end, the pressure helps shape who you are and to become a more skilled and reliable tradesperson. You might feel the way on you now, especially just starting out, but as you continue, you realize that pressure is what makes the trade rewarding. You're not just building houses, you're actually building your career. So after all this time as an apprentice, do I think framing is the hardest trade in Australia? Honestly, it's up there. It's physically demanding, mentally challenging, and you've got to be on point every single day. But there's something about it that's just rewarding and honestly really fun at times. Watching the house come together piece by piece makes all the hard work worth it, and especially at the end when you get to look at what you've built and, well, you think someone's going to live there. That's pretty mint. It's a trade that's not for everyone, but for me, I couldn't imagine doing anything else. I've always liked working with timber and carpentry in general. Couldn't imagine doing anything else right now. Sure, it's tough, but I love the feeling of seeing that house in the end. So is framing the hardest trade in Australia? Maybe, but it's definitely one of the most important, and I'm proud to be a part of it. So thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, I don't ask for you to do much, but if you could leave me some feedback with a simple comment, I'd like to know how I can improve my videos, and I need some video ideas that will actually benefit people watching. Maybe you're an apprentice, or maybe you're an interested person from even another country. Just let me know what you'd like to see next. Cheers.